Hey everybody, again, this is your Captain Jonathan here at Gears in the Ether Realm. I just wanted to do a really quick video today. I had something interesting happen. Basically, long story short, I bought me a drone today. Not just any drone, but it is the Tello uh, drone that was sponsored by or powered by DJI and also has the Intel Inside chip. And I would love to be able to give you an awesome review on the item, but unfortunately, I am not going to be able to do that today. Um, I just wanted to mention again, this is a small disclaimer. I have not had a lot of experience doing tech reviews or anything of the sort. I am looking into being able to do that in my future videos. So I am just going to go ahead and touch base with you on that real quick. The second small disclaimer is the fact that I am not had any other of the Tellos to try out except for the one that I bought today, and I happened to pick this one up. I would say as an impulse buy, but it isn't something that I also had known about beforehand. I also did reviews or checked out reviews beforehand. This is something that has been on my mind, and it was kind of one of those opportune moments that I just happened to have that extra money at this time. Now, I would love to have been able to have videos done. I would have been loved to have at least been able to give a thumbs up review on this item. I've seen many other people talking about it, and there are also people that I have had not experience with on a personal level, but looked at their videos on YouTube. I read CNET reviews. I've also read other reviews from different companies that review drones and whatnot. Now, a drone is something I've always been wanting to get into, and I thought this would have been a good kind of gateway drone to move up to something that I would possibly invest future money in order to help out to do my creations, to do my making of videos and helping out with my photography and whatnot. And there are a lot of new drones coming out soon. Updated Maverick Pro 2 and other companies, putting them out there now. DJI is one of the most competitive people out there, companies that are putting out really awesome products. And that is something that, just for the sheer fact of their logo being on this box right there. Sorry, again, not a clear video. I apologize. I'm just throwing this together real quick. Unfortunately, I have this sort of a three-strike rule when it comes to items that I put my money into. Granted, this is a brand new type of drone. It is not considered a professional drone. A lot of people have been putting it in the toy category. The fact is, though, it has awesome items or awesome abilities that have been built into it that was the selling point for me. One of them being that it even mentions it on the back that there is precise hovering, and this is done through a dual camera on the bottom of the item, and that helps it stabilize really well. And I can attest that if after I had it going forward like this at this type of angle, and I let up off of it, or centered again on the controller, which is done through your phone, that it would drift a little, but then I would see that it would auto correct at a level stance. So, long story short, I can at least attest to that. That does work. Now, the problem being is that I've flown this item a total of 3 times. Now, the reasoning behind that is that I ran into a major problem, and I'm unsure as to what had happened. Again, this is a brand new item. Got it out of the box today. Bought it at like 3 o'clock. Didn't get to play with it until about 7 or 8 this evening. And I charged it up. I flew it one time. Seemed to work just fine. But then it said that it had an update due, and I, like a diligent person, when it comes to being a layman of the drone, that I've, you know, the drones that have come out beforehand, and all of the research I've done, which is either through articles or through YouTube videos of professional people, they always mention it is always best to do the updates. Well, I did the update after one flight, and I'm not sure if it was because of that update that I started running into a number of problems. I can't say that it was perfect the first time out. I did have some troubles, some growing pains, obviously, to get it to connect to my phone. And that in itself was kind of a nuisance, but then again, nothing works right the first time, especially being that I'm inexperienced. So I was, again, like I stated, I did it flew one time, and then I updated, and then after that, it started overheating. I started getting a warning at least one or two times on the app saying that it cannot fly due to overheating, and then the drone itself would just shut itself off. And that's pretty much where it got left at after the third time that I flew it. The second time I flew it, thinking, oh, okay, well, maybe I just had it was after another charge. Maybe you gotta let it cool down after you charge it up. So I let it sit for a while, took the battery out. The battery did not feel warm, though. This is where the problems lay. Because of the fact that the drone itself, on the bottom, I could feel the heat coming off of it, and it was really at a kind of an extreme temperature when you think that, where the normal standard should be, even if it's running. I wouldn't think the bottom would get hot. I would think more of where the motors would have probably overheated, but the motors were not even hot at all at any time that I flew, and I felt all four motors. And long story short, I had to eventually talk to Rise, who's the main company who produced the Tello, and it's RYZE, and talk to their customer service. They asked me several good, awesome questions, and ultimately, this is where everything else started going wrong. Bottom line, he at first asked about those two items. Is it the main body, is it the battery, or is it the motors that's overheating? I eventually, with my computer background and my troubleshooting skills that I have through that, I was able to let him know that no, it wasn't the motors, no, the battery did not feel unusually warm even after being charged, and that it was the bottom of the item that was actually producing the most heat. And that's when he asked me where I got it. I got it at Walmart. Again, that's something that is where I was shopping today. It was an opportune moment. I didn't have to wait for it to come in the mail, which I'm glad. In this instance, again, I can't say this is for every single model of the Tello, but my particular model that I received, or that I purchased today, was definitely either flawed or it was an update or something, but the overheating issue was just ridiculous. It would overheat to the point where the second that I got it to link into my phone through Wi-Fi, it would just shut itself off. And I'm like, crap. So I pull the battery. I let it set for 10 minutes just to make sure all the heat dissipated as much as possible. And in that time, put the battery back in, turn it on, try to connect it up. Starts connecting, and then crap. There it goes again. It shuts itself off. And I was actually able to get it after rebooting my phone, after reading some suggestions through websites of holding down the power button for 5 seconds. to reset it, and that is actually listed in the app itself. That if you have a problem, to hold it down for 5 seconds, and it would put it into a reset mode. In case you put a password on the Wi-Fi, it puts it to where you don't have to have the password to log into it, which it by default doesn't have one. So I never even had the chance to even add a password. So that really wasn't the problem. So after doing all those things, I finally got it to connect, got video through it, because that was the other problem. The video was not working hardly at all. Either yours are black, or it would just be one single still frame for a really long time, and then another still frame. So sort of like something wasn't hooking up together. Long story short, through the questions that were asked, ultimately the customer service representative asked a good question, and the question was that he asked what type of phone I was using. Well, not thinking anything of it, I said I have one of the newest Galaxy Note brands. Well, the latest Note Galaxy from Samsung of Note 8. And he sent me a list of their recommended phones, and anything above in the Samsung Galaxy S7 is not on the list. That was kind of shocking to me. Now, I can understand about the S9. The S9 did not come out too long ago, but an S8, the S8, whatever, different versions of the regular S8 and the Note 8 not being on the list, being that those have been out for over a year now. It's kind of shocking. It was kind of upsetting. Is the fact that why would you only test up to the S7 and then past that not test for the other, for the other types of phones? And they're just saying, well, we just haven't, it's still in testing phase. Unfortunately, they didn't have, those phones on the list. And to me, that probably would have been one of the first phones you wanted to test it, because that normally, I understand a lot of people have older phones because that's just something that they like to do. But a lot of people, unfortunately, like me, I like the latest technology that I can afford, and I happen to have this S8 Note, or the Note 8, sorry, and that was one of the other bad selling points. Overheating, and my phone isn't even on their approved list of phones. Again, this item was mentioned or was stated as coming out less than a year ago. Probably about 6 months ago, as far as the first time I ever heard of it. Or just before that, because there was just it was just something that was seen at like CES or other trade shows, and as something that was possibly coming out. So like I said, that was one of the major selling points, of the fact that I thought this would be something that could get me into the drones, figuring out. I love the fact that it does stabilize, because I do like being able to have some control of a drone. Now, the third, and last thing that broke the camel's back, besides overheating and the fact that my phone isn't covered, is that I particularly do not like being able to control a drone using my phone alone. All the reviews that I ever read, all the other things that people had mentioned, that you should be able to go ahead and connect a Bluetooth controller. It never really specified, but when you say, hey, you should be able to get a Bluetooth controller and control it, so you don't have to use the phone. Well, there's only 2 controllers that have been designed to even work with it, and they are not items sold by Rise or the company that is in charge of Tello. And that is kind of upsetting, is the fact that it should work with any type of Bluetooth controller. I personally, I mean, I would understand where there might be compatibility issues or whatnot, but bottom line, you know, that was pretty much one of the things that I was looking forward to be able to control a drone and not have to use my phone except for to record video or be for the the telemetry or also the video and being able to look where it's at. Because one of the things I wanted to do is also it does have a built-in VR experience, so you can basically it's like your FPV, like first-person view on that, and that would have been something that would have been really awesome. Well, to come to find out, I have two different types of Bluetooth devices. I have just a kind of a standard Bluetooth game controller, which pretty much looks like a uh, PlayStation type controller, but it's not. But it has the exact button configuration, and also the newest controllers from Xbox have Bluetooth built into them too. So I was even able to connect this game controller to my Samsung phone, and it does recognize it as a game controller. So to me, to have it set for one or two specific type of Bluetooth controllers where you would have to go out and buy it if you want that experience, I'm sorry. To me, I'm a layman. I'm also not of the biggest amount of you know, money wise, having that available to me, I can understand that would be something somebody would probably, oh no, no problem, I'll just run down and I'll go get it. I don't even know if you can buy these two type of controllers at any local store, anyways, without ordering it. Some of the reviews I read again are people who also in the forums, even from the company, had stated that it was hard finding these two type of controllers. So limiting the type of controllers that you can use with it, when one, it doesn't even come with it. Two, it isn't even that company's branding. Like, I could understand, like, with DJI being able to have their own controller to control their Mavics, their other types of Phantoms, having a specific controller for that is understandable. But when you advertise can be controlled with a Bluetooth controller, and it's not even a controller your company even produces, and having it limited to those two for now. Now, I have to admit, they said it for now, but I don't know. It's just the fact that maybe we're running into just it's the first gen problems. Limited types of controllers, limited use of different types of phones, which is the main controller. But then also running into the fact that I can 100% confirm nor deny that due to the update that was done, whatever happened to this particular model, it's rendered basically useless to me. And that really, really upset me. And then the final recommendation of the customer service representative that I did talk to, again, from Rise directly, was pretty much, we're sorry, there's nothing we can do about it. You're going to have to take it back to the company that you got it from. If they will issue you a brand new one and then try it again, then let us know. Well, this particular one was the very last model on the shelf at the Walmart that I went to. There were no other ones available to exchange it for, so I would actually have to pretty much either go order it or have them order it and send it to the Walmart and have to wait for it. But ultimately, with all the problems that I ran into, I'm not impressed with the item, and I'm sorry. I'm going to have to give it a thumbs down. I don't know if anybody else wants to defend it. Please feel free to go ahead and put the comments below. It's totally understandable. Again, sorry, this is supposed to be a simple review. Unfortunately, it's gotten a little long. But bottom line, it seemed like a really awesome item. I loved a lot of the features available for it. I'm sorry I didn't get to play with it or try it out and try out all the different modes. The fact that you can throw it. It has a mode where you could throw it and then it would just it would fly. It would start flying. It would hover when you threw it. That seemed pretty awesome because then, that's just something quick. You just connect it up real quick, throw it up, fly it, and it's flying for you. And then it had different modes where it would do like a 360-degree video circle around you. That was something I wanted to try out. Unfortunately, today was a super windy day, so these 3 flights were done inside my house in my living room, which, by the way, it was pretty cool the way it did stabilize, but I did actually have, just one run in with a wall, but it fell onto a couch. It didn't fall on the floor, and it was not that far of a fall, maybe that far down. But again, I wish I could be a lot more helpful. I wish this could have been something that my expectations could have been fulfilled with. But bottom line, I have to say, I would not recommend this to any of my friends at this time until they do more research or allow more types of phones to, especially more modern, newer phones, or different types of controllers to be available to use with it. Anyways, again, my name is Jonathan. I'm the captain here at Gears in the Ether Realm. Please go ahead and look at other my videos. I do gaming. I do other types of reviews of movies, comics. I'm a huge nerd, so if you also are a nerd, please feel free to check out some of my other stuff. Now, I haven't posted a lot to YouTube here in a while. I'm coming back to YouTube. I was doing mainly most of my videos on Facebook because I also do live streaming. I'll try and get some of those converted over here. Anyways, thanks again for stopping by. Have a great day, and remember, keep your gears grinding and your eyes to the ether. Good night.